And Russian President Vladimir Putin could be arrested if he attends a Brics economic summit being hosted in South Africa in August. A special government commission has concluded that the country has no choice but to arrest Vladimir Putin if he sets foot on South Africa. The warrant issued for Vladimir Putin's arrest by the International Criminal Court on the 16th of March for the illegal deportation of at least 100 Ukrainian children. And despite attempts to ignore the order, South Africa's President Cyril Ramaphosa is under pressure to execute the arrest warrant. Pretoria is a signatory to the Rome Statute that set up the ICC and having written its obligation into the country's constitution. The African power instead has urged the Russian leader who has been declared wanted by the ICC to join the bloc meeting via Zoom. South Africa is one of Russia's strongest allies in Africa. It is suffering from a debilitating energy crisis and is hoping Russia will build a new nuclear power station to solve the problem. And Dr. Bola Adediro is a politics and international relations lecturer at the Liverpool Hope University. He joins us live for more on this virtually from the UK. Good to have you join us.
Thank you for having me.
So President earlier criticized the ICC and then threatened to quit the court. But now we understand that South Africa officials have been in talks with the Kremlin to try and dissuade Putin from traveling to the country. Why do you think we're seeing a change in tone and stance in South Africa?
I think it's mostly because South Africa is also trying to avoid any embarrassment that will come that would attend its violation of its obligations under the Rome Statute. The Rome Statute is very clear under Article 27 that a state has an obligation that the immunity clause that is granted to head of states do not apply, and that where it is necessary, Hello?
All right, we did lose a connection with you for just about a minute, but you were speaking to why there is a change of tone in South Africa.
Yes, so I was saying that under the obligations of that the South African government have under the Rome Statute, it is obligated to hand over Vladimir Putin to the ICC, given that Vladimir Putin has been indicted. But I also think that there is also a bit of history at play here. South Africa previously had declined to arrest Omar al-Bashir. Really run out of South Africa the next day when it was very clear, according to when it became very clear that South Africa's obligations were being violated. So I think that there is a bit of history there, and there is an acknowledgement that South Africa is willing to endure the embarrassment that comes with a violation of its treaty obligations.
But we know that both countries are members of the Brics alliance, and we also see how South Africa has been trying to assert itself as a dominant power in Africa. How can it maneuver this current situation?
I think that the precedence is to follow what Jordan has done, which is that Jordan, in 2017, Omar al-Bashir visited Jordan for the Arab League Summit, which Jordan was hosting, and Jordan refused. Jordan, also a state party to the ICC, refused to arrest Omar al-Bashir. And in fact, Omar al-Bashir ended up staying throughout the whole summit. The ICC opened a case against Jordan for violations of Article 87(7), which obligates it to hand over, which obligates it to respect the treaties of the ICC. And what and Jordan tried to astutely defend itself before the pre-trial chamber, even though the ICC, through the pre-trial chamber and the appeals chamber, found that Jordan had violated its obligations. But the reality of it is that the ICC only refer Jordan to the Assembly of State Parties and to the UN Security Council, which is the most sort of punishment that Jordan received over the violation of the treaty. So the point I'm trying to make here is that South Africa can indeed go ahead to invite Vladimir Putin, to host Vladimir Putin, and just be prepared to sort of suffer the consequence, which is that it will be brought before the ICC to explain why it violated its treaty obligations.
But it does seem like that people in South Africa who are not willing to go down that route, especially because they're also dependent not just on Russia, but other countries as well. But let's talk about Putin himself. He's been making efforts to try and assert himself and Russia on the world stage. But as it stands, he cannot visit about 123 countries without being arrested. Where does that leave him in the global order?
Hello?
We have you on. Please go on.
Yeah, so I didn't hear the question. Could you kindly repeat it, please?
I was saying that President Putin has been trying to assert himself and Russia on the world stage, but as it stands, there are about 123 countries in the world that he cannot visit without being arrested. Where does that leave him in the world order?
I think there are several aspects to this case. I think there is the legal questions, there are legal questions, there are political questions, and there are sort of moral questions. Morally, ICC member state parties ought to arrest Vladimir Putin for for violations of international law. But there are, I think, more fundamental political questions and pragmatic questions, which is that Russia is a massive power, global power. It is also a country that many countries within the global south, especially in Africa, are beginning to develop both economic and political relationships with. So it will be difficult to imagine a situation where the president of Russia is not able to visit countries. I think that what is going to happen is that states will be willing to violate the treaty obligations under the ICC and to accompany. You will suffer the embarrassment internationally, but the pragmatic case is that you might also gain much more respect from the Russians themselves, who are willing to do business and develop relationships with you. So I think that states have to kind of weigh the consequences, go the pragmatic route, or take sort of the legal and the moral route, which will probably leave them in economic peril, depending on what sort of relationships they're trying to foster with Russia.
Looks like a period of the battle of influence between the ICC and the Russian president. Thank you so much for talking to us as always. Politics and International Relations lecturer at Liverpool Hope University, Dr. Bola Adidiro.
Thank you very much.